How's everybody doing? So, you might be wondering, man, where's Perseus been? Why hasn't he made any videos? Well, a couple things. Life's been real busy. Also, last video I made was about 2 months ago, and I think I was MR 24 or 25, and I made the possibly dumb life decision of trying to grind MR 30 by the Tempestari patch. So, I succeeded in that. I got MR30 a couple days ago. Kind of took a break from Warframe for a couple days because it was a heck of a grind. I'm not gonna lie. So, in this video, I just kind of wanted to give an update on the channel, a couple build updates, kind of general thoughts on the MR30 grind, how I'm feeling about Warframe, maybe like the channel future kind of thing. So first off, just to whet your appetite a little bit, just want to talk about maybe an overlooked weapon, Zorus. So glaives are real hot right now. They're just like Hansel, so hot right now. And Glaive Prime is kind of the top dog, right? Glaive Prime has 4 slash procs on the explosions. It's just super awesome. It looks really cool. So I think kind of an under utilized perhaps glaive is Zorus. So one really cool thing about Zorus is the AoE on this thing is monstrous. Like look at it, hits everything. It literally hit everything. It's insane. And so I've been having a ton of fun with Zorus and Garuda because it just feels really sweet. Like that's just awesome. So yeah, these are level 180. So now one nice thing about MR30 is I can get even higher level enemies in the Simulacrum. So, I can always just go to Steel Path as well. So that's one like pretty cool item I was actually pretty happy with. I'd tried the Zorus a lot when it first came out, and then I kind of put it down. And I'd been using Glaive Prime. I have a Hydroid video from months ago that was using Glaive Prime before they even got buffed. And yeah, so glaives are really cool. Don't overlook the Zorus. It's relatively easy to get. I mean, you get it from a quest, so that's pretty nice. Another thing, I just kind of wanted to throw an update on my Atlas build. So I really need to put an aura form on him. When I do get an aura forma, I'll be putting preparation over here. So as you can see, I dropped vitality and I dropped my umbral mods, and so I went like full shield gating, right? Dropped down my efficiency. Your strength is kind of, to taste. You can kind of mess with these 3 mods, or even streamline. It depends on how much efficiency you want to have. I really like at least 190% range on Atlas. I do really like when it's higher. So I was messing around with some auger set mods. So the reason that this is higher is I have auger mods on my new core. But this lets Atlas. So with the decaying dragon key, you don't have to run any umbral mods or anything. So it really basically anytime you do anything, and I'm out of energy. Basically, anytime you do anything, you're refilling your shields. And so this isn't new, right? I mean, that's pretty standard shield gating stuff. But I did switch over, for anybody who watches my previous Atlas video, I have switched over to a more shield gatey build. And it really works well with the immunity frames you get from Landslide. So it's really hard to die with Atlas with shield gating because and the reason you want to drop down the reason I dropped my efficiency from 160 to 130, and I've been messing around with going even lower, but it's Atlas kind of has a little bit of a startup period, so it can be a little difficult to do that with the full energy cost because Petrify is kind of expensive and Ensnare is a little expensive. So that's a little bit of an update on Atlas. I think Atlas is so underrated. And he looks really awesome. So MR30, just some thoughts on that. Man, there's a lot of stuff in Warframe. There is a lot of stuff in Warframe. So, like I said, my last video, I think it was my Ash one, and that was a couple months ago now. And So I made the decision of, all right, I really want to get to MR30. I'm gonna stop making meme builds for a little while because that's what I love is the memes, and focus on getting MR30. You get a ton of really cool rewards. That way, I'll have the highest level enemies in the simulacrum. It'll be way easier to forma stuff, so I can try out new builds faster. Um, so took me a while. Cost me probably, I think, nearly 3,000 plat, probably about 30 million credits. I actually ran out of credits on the last item I was making. I had to sell Oberon blueprints to craft the last item for MR30. Um, yeah, there's a lot of really bad weapons in this game that I didn't really fully appreciate until I grinded out MR30. A lot of stuff you kind of ignore because some things are just so strong, but yeah, there's a lot of weak stuff. However, there were some things that were kind of surprising. Um, so yeah, warframes. I mean, I already had all the warframes maxed. I would say there are definitely a couple frames that are kind of rough to farm. I did re-farm everything from Helminth anyways, so I'd already mastered all the frames already. So but for someone trying to hit MR30, normal Avara I actually think is super awful because I just got really frustrated with spy missions. Now I of course have like a million extra Avara blueprints. I actually didn't think Nidus was too bad. Highly recommend Gara for that. Exploiter Orb can actually be pretty annoying for new players, I've come to realize. But otherwise, like, frames aren't too awful. Korra can be kind of annoying too. For primaries, some kind of like surprising weapons that I didn't expect to be as good. Um, so Carmine Penta with napalm grenades is actually like pretty fun. I don't necessarily know if it's super good. Convectrix is a beast. That thing is a monster slash weapon that I did not appreciate. As you can see, I most of the things that I haven't mastered require one specific resource, and that's cryotic. So I started playing Warframe over 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago, but I missed the boat on when excavation was the thing to farm. So there's a lot of veterans that have hundreds of thousands of cryotic banked up because excavation was the best thing to do. I didn't have that. So I hated farming cryotic. I don't like excavation. I think it's one of the most boring and frustrating game modes because you basically have to bring Korra if you're gonna solo farm, and I did pretty much all of this solo. My friend Big Kahuna, he helped me a bunch, but you pretty much have to farm it solo, and you basically have to bring Korra. I mean, I like Korra, but I've played Korra so much because I felt like I had to, quote unquote, that I almost like don't want to play Korra at all anymore. So yeah, if you're interested at all in farming MR30, as far as weapons goes, there's like three things that I would suggest doing right now. One, if you're not doing this already, start making a forma every day, because every weapon from the dojo requires a forma to make. Two, just farm a little bit of cryotic every day. You don't if you try to do it all at once, you're gonna go crazy. I definitely did not make the Cyber. I focused on the weapons that didn't need that much cryotic. And three, start making one of the faction specific daily crafted um, mats every day. So detonite ampules, mutagen mass, and field run. So yeah, those are things you'd have to wait a long time for, or spend a lot of plat rushing, which you don't really want to do. You could also do invasions, but those are kind of inconsistent, and it can take a little while to get that stuff. But if it's in like Nightwave, invasions are a good way to do it too. I am only missing one Kuva weapon. I did not max all my Kuva weapons. I didn't need that extra standing. Mutalisk Quana, actually really fun. Was pretty surprised about that one. Let me see here. I'm trying to remember if there was any other surprising weapons. Another thing is, man, shotguns need some love. I feel like outside of beam shotguns that can just dump status effects on things like Phage and Phantasma, like normal shotguns are just really, really need some help. So yeah, that's oh, I also didn't have the BRAC, 3,500 hours in the game, still haven't gotten the BRAC to drop. There's that. Another thing that I would suggest, and this is the build that I used for it, is doing a Cimerus farm every day. So I did kind of a combo farm. So this is the build that I used. Excuse me. So this is Avara, and this is the build that I used. So really high range. I don't have infiltrate, so I drop my strength because I don't need it if I'm not going to run infiltrate. Decent duration, max efficiency, super high range, running ensnare. So ensnare has a really interesting property where whenever you ensnare an enemy, it basically like locks their alertness state. So if you ensnare an enemy who is unalerted, you could butcher his friends right in front of him, and he will stay unalerted, right? So, and then another thing is with your scanner. So you got your synthesis scanner. So when you scan a target, you see how I got 482 from these guys? Now, here's an important thing. Look at the minimap. You see how those are hollow triangles? If they're hollow triangles, that means that they're unalerted, right? So you can do something like this. Now, I would probably try and scan them beforehand, but you get a ton. Now, if you go into Steel Path, I used Sedna Daro for this. So I basically went around, scanned everything, and then I would get them together, switch to my pennant, and kill everything, right? And then that would give me, oh, come on, slash procs. Wow, geez, these things have a lot of armor, a lot of health. Anyways, so on Steel Path, Sedna Daro, my pennant build was able to just one-shot things, well, with the bleed procs, of course. So, and then you get into like the stealth multiplier and blah, blah, blah. So kind of use it as like a combo Cimerus plus affinity farm. So it takes about 15 minutes. It's kind of like a nice daily thing to do. Cimerus has a ton of cool mods. I needed a couple weapons from him. And I'm also working on getting another set of Umbral mods that I can use unranked. So yeah, that was definitely a super, super useful build. Avara is just, if you don't have Avara, get Avara. She is just a really, really convenient at a lot of different farms and whatnot. So she's a great frame. I almost think I would highly suggest to anybody to get on Avara like ASAP. Another frame that was actually pretty useful was Necros, for one reason in particular. So if you're gonna farm stuff, Cora is the go-to gal, right? So Cora was great. However, there's something super annoying, and that something is both. Oh, can you not bring mechs in here? That stinks. Anyways, those annoying things are arc weapons. Um, so yeah, your mech, your arc guns are pretty annoying to level. I found Fortuna to be the best place to do that. So you can also go into Profit Taker, and Profit Taker will spawn a ton of pretty decent level Corpus enemies that you can kill with your arc gun. So Velocitus, a lot of the arc guns actually do pretty decent damage. I found Grattler to be just awful, and as well as like normal the normal Imperator is pretty bad, but most of them are actually pretty decent. So I did a lot of, and so one thing so I guess what I'm trying to get at here is try to combine your farms, right? So why am I talking about, why do I have Necros out right now? So one thing you can do is you can just take a max range Necros, activate your aura, and then, go into your mech, and your aura will stay on while you're in your mech. So you can go to Fortuna, pop your aura on Necros, go jump into your mech, and then kill stuff with your mech and your arc gun, and then you can kind of work on leveling your mech, you can level arc guns, you can farm toroids all at the same time. So that saved me so much time doing like trying to combine farms as much as I could was really made it a lot more efficient. Another thing is like mining, like start mining now because you're gonna need all these rare like gems and whatever, and it takes forever to get all this stuff. So, start mining now. That was another pretty annoying resource, especially Pyrol. Oh my goodness. That was a super annoying one. Um, so there are a few things that I haven't leveled because you don't need everything. So one Zaw, because this Zaw is just really bad. That takes Chaotic. That takes Chaotic. This is Cimerus. I'm not farming these things. That's awful. So these drop from the Thumpers. I don't have a Plague QR. And then this brings me to another point. Some blueprints you just can't get. They will occasionally show up in the Nightwave shop. So once again, if you want to hit MR30, pay attention to Nightwave. They're usually like 50 credits. I was able to pick up like 3 different weapon blueprints that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise from the Nightwave shop. So definitely do that. This costs a ton of chaotic, and yeah, just screw that. Other common theme here is K drives. I tried leveling a K drive. I absolutely hated it. Maybe some people like K drives. I don't mind using my K drive just from time to time, just for fun. But doing the races and spamming that over and over was not a pleasant experience. So yeah, I did not like that at all. As far as Arcwing goes, to kind of finish up that stuff. So arc guns you can level and um, with your mech on Fortuna, which is or Orbivalis, which is pretty pretty nice. Arc melee, you kind of have to do them in a mission. So it was a little unfortunate because a lot of this would have been way easier with the previous iteration of Railjack. So before with Railjack, you could go to take whatever you wanted to farm, jump on your railjack, go do a Grenier mission. You get a nice amount of affinity, and it was great. You could do something fun and level stuff. Awesome. The new railjack, that doesn't really work. All your affinity goes to your plexus and your intrinsics, which are just that kind of sucks. I honestly kind of hate that. Um, it's yeah, I'm not a fan. So and then you get your gunners and whatnot. So I tried to be cheeky, and I was like, well, maybe I can go into a mission and hop out in my Arcwing and kill stuff, and then when my gunners kill stuff, I should get affinity, right? No, that's not how it worked. I let my gunners kill things, and I got 0 affinity. And I did farm up my railjack, so I have rank 5 gunners, and I have the I forget the hit scan weapon that's really good on the side turrets, but I have 2 of I have that maxed out, and man, that thing just shreds. Your gunners will instantly kill everything, and you don't get any affinity for that. Or I wasn't getting any affinity for that when I was outside of my ship, and that felt terrible. So I really hope they fix the whole railjack affinity situation, or at least take another look at it, because man, that was a little disappointing. I really like railjack. I want to like railjack a lot. But yeah, so melee is super easy. Just use Naramon and just like I used ESO primarily for leveling stuff, or Steel Path. Melee you can level on Steel Path with Naramon. Robots super easy, awesome source of MR. If you're a new player and you want mastery rank, level up companions, especially Sentinels, because they give you the Sentinel and the weapon, which is awesome because that's a massive amount of mastery. So if you really want to get mastery rank super fast, level up Sentinels. Now the MOAs are a little bit of a different story. MOAs do have weapons, but you buy them separately. The MOAs are, frankly, not all that great in my opinion. Companions, the Deimos stuff is a little bit of a slog because you do need sun tokens. So Grandmother has this new thing where you can buy, you like fix the family or something, and you can basically get tokens from her. So I did a bunch of Deimos when it came out. I, just being completely honest, sorry DE, I haven't touched Deimos since like the week of the Deimos Arcana patch. Because as soon as I did the new like bounty vault things, and I realized how ridiculous that grind would be for awful arcanes, I haven't touched it since. I've literally the only time I went to Deimos in the past few months was to go make these Vulpaphilas and Predicites from Sun, and that's it. I haven't done a bounty. I haven't gone into Cambion Drift since November. I farmed up the Sporothrix, which was the only thing I wanted. I ended up just buying the Aram Spinoza parts because I couldn't be bothered to go back. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like Deimos kind of ended up disappointing me a little bit, if I'm going to be completely honest. As far as companions go, I really really like the Panzer Volpaphyla. I think this thing is super nice. Adarza Kavat I really only use on Atlas. I actually think some of the Predicites have pretty decent mods, like the Predicite mod that makes the maggots that taunt, or there's one that heals or gives you toxin damage. I was actually messing around with those. I don't think it's terrible, honestly. And Vulpaphilas also have that new mod that basically gives you health gating, and that makes an Aros a little more viable for super high level stuff. And then there's the Smita Kavat, which, that's the Smita. It's still super strong. Um, so yeah, Arc Wings, Arc Guns, whatever you can't level in Orb Valus, definitely go to Salacia Neptune. That's the most efficient mission to farm affinity for that stuff. I swapped back and forth between Steel Path and normal, just depending on which weapon I was leveling and if it could actually kill Steel Path stuff. Like some of these weapons are insane, some of them are kind of just meh. Like I accidentally took a completely unmodded Velocitus to Steel Path and I didn't even notice because this weapon does so much damage. So yeah, and then Arc Melee is awful. Arc Melee is, in my opinion, so bad, I think that they should straight up disable it until they fix it. Because if you use Arc Melee in an actual Arcwing mission, you rubber band so badly. It is I mean, one, if you have any kind of vertigo at all, you're probably going to throw up. Two, it's a completely horrific play experience. So I seriously doubt that anybody at DE is going to see this, but if they do, for the love of the Lotus, just disable Arc Melee. It is nearly unplayable. Now, it's not like Outriders level of unplayable, but it's pretty bad. So, amps, I was actually pretty pleasantly surprised with amps. Like amps were a little rough to farm, so this goes back into like toroids, fish, rare mining materials, stuff like that. But there's actually quite a few pretty fun amps. So I usually use the Raplac for Eidolons, just to it synergizes the best with Void Strike. But I really liked Clamora and Lega. So these are like the kind of flamethrowery ones. So those are super, super, super fun. The Schwak was also pretty fun too. So I right now my one of the things I'm farming is finishing out all the nodes in the Madurai tree and farming Profit Taker um, for all the Magus arcanes that buff up your damage, turn your void damage to heat. Um, and yeah, that'll probably be my next thing. So speaking of Profit Taker and Vox Solaris, so that's another thing you should really, really get used to farming. Oh my gosh, I can't spell because it's PT. Where is it? Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, sorry. So yeah, another thing, get used to farming Profit Taker. Just make a Chroma. If you don't have Chroma Prime is not super expensive. You could farm him in a night or two of grinding relics. My Chroma build, this is not optimal at all. I've been kind of messing around with some stuff. I really need to put some Umbral form on him. So I'm actually planning on putting like probably 2 Umbral Forma, or maybe at least one, to try and fit Umbral I'm probably gonna make these the 3 Umbro mods, honestly, just for more strength. And yeah, I mean, Chroma. Now he is not. Now I want to make this very clear because I know people are. I'm assuming somebody's gonna say something. Chroma is not the best profit taker frame. The best profit taker frames in terms of raw speed or frame is Saren. Saren is the best frame for speed running profit taker, with Mirage close behind. However, I have tried using those frames and it is so much harder than with Chroma. It is faster, but you have to be way more careful. It's way easier to die. You have to be like spamming shield restore pads to not die to reset your shield gaining. Chroma just has a butt ton of armor and he just doesn't care. So I found that Chroma was way easier to use. I also really liked the Panzer Volpaphyla with Chroma because this thing just passively heals you for so much. And another thing that's like really good, Exodia Contagion. If you don't have this, get it, because it's insane. Rip Plague Crypath disposition, by the way. So get Exodia Contagion. That makes it way worse. I'm not gonna like go into Profit Taker in huge detail. I could make a Profit Taker guide, but I'm sure there's a million of those out there. You know, just make sure you got all your elements covered. And yeah, it's whew. Profit Taker is definitely a good farm. Very good passive platform. People still buy all those arcanes and stuff. But that's another, that's one place where the Zenith is pretty nice. Or really the only place the Zenith is nice, to be honest. So, yeah, so I got MR30. Looking forward to making some more builds in the near future. I'm super excited for the next patch. I think Sevagoth looks really cool. Also, and I'm gonna make another another video on this. Like they recently came out with some more ranged weapon mods. I thought those were awesome. They didn't have too much build diversity, but they definitely added to a few weapons. So I'm fingers crossed. DE, please make more ranged weapon mods. I'm gonna admit I have been playing Outriders a little bit as well. And it's kind of nice actually using guns. Melee is like, I mean, why use guns when you can just chuck melee weapons that do a bajillion damage? Like, geez, man, it's melee is so strong, and I know a ton of people like melee, and it's fine. I don't want melee to be nerfed. I just want there to be good ranged weapon alternatives, right? That aren't, the Kuva Brahma or Kuva Ogress. There's really only a couple of top tier ranged weapons that can actually do damage, and it falls off so fast compared to, Condition Overload, Blood Rush, Weeping Wounds style builds. So I'm really hoping they make some more of those mods. I'm super excited for Tempestari. Now that I'm MR30, I can focus more on actually making builds. So I know it's been a long time coming, but I'll just, as a last note, I'll just leave. Hopefully my next video is going to be this pretty girl. So yeah, I love Mag. She's my favorite frame. So this is probably what's going to be coming next. So yeah, thanks for watching. Looking forward to getting more builds out soon. And leave some comments if you have any feedback. If you've gotten MR30, what you thought was awful or easy, and any feedback. So thanks, guys. Hope you have a good one. See ya.